All right, today we're going to dive into a real puzzle, one that's locked deep inside the human brain. It's a phenomenon that really challenges the way we think about reality itself. And it all kicks off with one very simple question. So, let me ask you, what color is the number 5? Now, I know for most of you that question probably sounds, well, a little crazy, right? A number is a number. It's an idea, a symbol. But what if it wasn't just that? You see, for some people, the answer to that question is immediate, it's automatic, and it's totally unshakable. For them, maybe 5 is red, or maybe the name Derek tastes like earwax, or a trumpet sounds like a jagged orange shape. This isn't just their imagination running wild. It's a real, genuine sensory experience. It's called synesthesia. Okay, so what is it actually like to live in this world of extra blended senses? Let's break it down. Well, at its most basic level, synesthesia is kind of like a crossing of the streams in your brain. When one sense gets activated, say hearing a particular musical note, it automatically and involuntarily triggers an experience in a different sense, like seeing a specific color. You don't choose for it to happen, it's just this constant automatic loop. And this, right here, is where it gets really weird. This is the core paradox. A synesthete can look at the letter A, printed in plain black ink, and they will perceive it as red. They know logically that the ink on the page is black, but their actual, real-time, subjective experience is red. That internal conflict is the key to this whole mystery. So, to try and solve this puzzle, we have to look under the hood at the brain's actual wiring. And scientists, well, they have two main theories about why this happens. And really, it all boils down to a classic debate. Is it a hardware problem? Is the synesthete's brain physically built differently than everyone else's? Or is it more of a software thing? Is the hardware totally normal, but the signals are just running on a different operating system? Let's check out the hardware theory first. So, this first idea is called the cross-activation theory, and it basically suggests that people with synesthesia have extra physical wiring in their brains. Think of them as these little neural bridges that connect different sensory areas that, in most people, are totally separate. It's like having a little footpath that connects the part of your brain that sees letters directly to the part that sees color. But how would someone get that extra wire?
Well, this is where things get, honestly, kind of wild. There's an idea called the neonatal synesthesia hypothesis, and it proposes that we are all born synesthetes. Yep, all of us. As babies, our brains are just this chaotic, hyper-connected jumble of wires. As we grow, a process called synaptic pruning kicks in and starts trimming away all the unnecessary connections to make our brains more efficient. But the theory goes that in synesthetes, that pruning process is just incomplete. It leaves some of those original cross-sensory bridges still standing.
Okay, but what if that's not it? What if the wiring is the same in all of us, and the real difference is in the signals themselves? That brings us to the software theory. This idea is called the disinhibited feedback theory. It argues that those cross-sensory connections, they exist in everybody's brain, but in most of us, they're switched off, they're inhibited. But in synesthetes, the gates that normally keep these signals separate are, well, a little bit leaky. This allows information to spill over from one sense to another. And this is a really powerful idea because it might explain acquired synesthesia, these bizarre cases where people suddenly develop the condition after taking LSD or even after losing their sight. The software got an update, not the hardware. So, with all these leaky gates and crossed wires, how should we think about this? Is synesthesia some kind of bug, a glitch in the system? Or could it actually be a feature? Maybe even a kind of superpower? Okay, first things first, let's get one thing straight. This is not just people making things up. When you test a synesthete who sees the number 5 as red, they'll tell you the exact same shade of red years, even decades later. Their consistency is over 90%. For the rest of us just trying to remember made-up pairings, we're lucky if we hit 40%. This is a real, stable, deeply embedded part of how they see the world. But here's the thing. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, you have the risk of total sensory overload, a cognitive meltdown. But on the other hand, you have the potential for incredible creativity and a truly superior memory. Let's start with the costs. So the bug part of this can be absolutely debilitating. Just imagine walking into a busy supermarket. Every label on every product is shouting a color at you. Every announcement over the PA system is a flash of light. Every sound has a physical texture. For some synesthetes, this constant, overwhelming flood of information can lead to a complete meltdown, where the brain just can't process anything anymore. But then you flip the coin, and you get the feature, the superpower. Synesthetes often have absolutely exceptional memories. And why is that? It's because their world is automatically dual-coded. For them, a phone number isn't just a boring string of digits. It's a vibrant, memorable sequence of colors. A person's name isn't just a sound. It might have a taste or a shape. This extrasensory layer acts like a powerful mental anchor, making information way more sticky and much, much easier to remember. Okay, so now it's time to put all the pieces together, because what this seemingly rare condition reveals, it isn't just about a few people with colorful numbers. No, it pulls back the curtain on a fundamental truth about, well, about every single one of us.
We've been looking at synesthesia as this weird, quirky exception to the rule, right? We've been asking why their brains are different from our brains. But what if we've been asking the wrong question the whole time?
What if synesthesia isn't the anomaly at all? What if instead it's the most obvious, in-your-face example of how all of our brains actually work, all the time? It's because neuroscientists are starting to realize something pretty radical, and it's summed up by this idea. The reality that you experience every single day, it's not an objective picture of the outside world. It is a simulation, a story. It is a controlled hallucination that is generated by your brain. Think of it this way. Your brain isn't a passive window just looking out at the world. It's an active artist. It takes in all this chaotic sensory data, photons hitting your eyes, vibrations in the air, and it constructs a useful, stable user interface for you to live in. So the synesthete's experience of a red A and your experience of a black A, they are fundamentally the same process. They are both constructions. They are both hallucinations controlled by what your brain expects to see. The synesthete's user interface is just a little more richly decorated than yours. And that leaves us with one last, kind of profound question. Synesthesia shows us that the way we see the world isn't passive, it's a creative act. We are all the architects of our own reality. So if your world is a construction, a story your brain is telling itself, what story are you going to build?